Hi everyone, welcome to IG Live, and we're just laughing because I'm here and I'm going to introduce my friend Veronique. And I'm Veronique, I'm from Georgia, and I just asked how to pronounce her last name. I was like Tristram, and you said yes.
Yes, but it's good.
Say your name.
It's right, Tristram, but it's
Much better.
difficult to. Yes, it's a lot of R. It's not easy to pronounce.
No,
So.
I'm so envious of Europeans and all of your languages that you speak, but very honored to have Veronique here today. And so I've been giving you.
I would say the honor is mine. I'm very excited to be here today.
Well, so what we want to do today is tell you a little bit about Veronique, but jump right into the questions that you guys have asked. So, Veronique was the fashion director of Glamour in Germany.
Yes.
And you are French.
I am French. I have been living in Germany for the last 25 years, and or even more. And I right now I'm between Germany and France. Yes, I spend a lot of time in Paris, and
So super chic. And I think that before you came on, I did a questionnaire to my followers, and I asked them, what are the questions that you want us to talk about today? And of course, so many people are enamored by your style. And I think that it's, the pictures that I put up of Veronique, like Veronique has incredible style. And just the pictures are over the top. They're beautiful, they're gorgeous. But what I love about your style is I think it's very accessible. And I think that it might be intimidating the way that it looks. It's shot during Paris Fashion Week. But I think ultimately when you break it down, I think your style is quite accessible. And I think people feel that from the pictures that I showed them. And there were a lot of questions. People wanted to know, when did you really hit your stride in finding your style? Like, did you always have it? Was this something that was honed over time?
So that's difficult question to answer. It's because of several reasons. First, it's you cannot. I wouldn't say I have a great style, because it's my style, and it's not that I stand up in the morning and say, oh my God, I'm so gifted and I can style so well. So it's just, and of course, for sure, when I was young, I probably also made a lot of mistakes style-wise, because it's not, you are not born with a great style.
When you say you made mistakes, are they ones did you feel that they were mistakes at the moment, or were they things you looked back on pictures and you thought, oh my gosh?
Luckily, they are very, very little picture of myself when I was young, because I hated to be photographed.
Yeah.
I still don't like it, but now I can cope with it. And at that time, but it was, at that time in the 80s, you need a camera to take pictures of people, and normal people were not running around with cameras. So
no.
Of course it's not like now with your smartphone. So that's the reason why there are really very little picture of myself. No, that's more in my that I remember what I was wearing, what I was buying. Sometimes it was also probably because I was very I liked to experiment. So I already like to mix things. So of course, when you're not so classical, you make mistake. You have to learn.
And when you mix things and you experimented, like back then, it was like you just had magazines to look at, to
Yes.
do, and you had friends. Where did you find your inspiration?
Only in magazine. I
Mhm.
must say, only in magazine.
Right.
I started reading fashion magazine when I was maybe 12,
Mm-hmm.
which was at that time really early.
Yep. Yep.
And
But same here for me.
and also I remember one of my first memories as a child is going with my mother buying a pair of boots for the winter. I was probably like 3 or 4, and well, probably 4, otherwise 3 I wouldn't remember so well, but I was really a little girl, and I wanted another pair of shoes. That's the ones that my mother chose for me. She has chosen boots more practical, and I
Right.
wanted more the fashionable boots.
Right. Right.
And I remember really crying and screaming in that store, as you
So-
can see, I was always even as a little girl, I had my head, and I had an opinion about fashion.
You had an opinion, and I
Yes.
think that that's, one of the things that people ask me a lot about is, how do you find what the right fashion is for you? How do you find the right style? And I explain to people that style is so, it's about expressing really who you are.
Yes.
And who you are tends to be told through descriptive terms. And a lot of times when I ask women, well, tell me about who you are, they'll tell me things like, well, I like to wear short skirts, and I wear fitted tops, or I wear big tops. And I always think, but you're not a fitted top, you're not a short skirt. Like, who are you? Who really are you, and how then does that impact the fashion that you choose? And I think one of the things you and I really connect on so many levels, because I think that we both consider ourselves quite balanced people,
Yes.
right? I'm not extreme this way, and I'm not extreme this way. And I think that for me then, when I think about what style I really relate to, it's not really surprising that it's style that is quite balanced. It's not, it might be effortless, but it's not ragged and
No.
sloppy.
Yes,
And it
totally
might,
agree.
right, it's refined,
Yes.
but it's not super conservative and tight. And so I think just understanding my desire for balance and looking at viewpoints and understanding things, I think it makes sense then, the clothing choices
Yes.
that I make.
Yes, it's the same for me. I would say I'm an easy, urban, busy person,
Mhm.
and that's the way
Yeah.
I am, and that's the way I
And I think,
dress.
and so just alone, guys, because really, if you take the time to really write out your adjectives, we talk about the adjectives describing yourself, I think that's where you can find the contradictions when you're describing yourself. And the things is, those contradictions are good, because people are multi-layered, they're complex, and so when you just said that you're easygoing, but then you're urban, you live in big cities, you're very busy,
So you walk a lot.
you walk a lot.
Yes.
But a lot of people who live in big cities, they're not easygoing. They might be more like uptight and rigorous and blah, blah, blah. So, when you read a magazine now or a headline, it might say something like, if you live in a big city, this is what you should be wearing. But if you're easygoing in a big city, what you wear is different than what someone who is maybe very controlling or very uptight would wear.
I know, working for magazines, I was always obliged. I mean, I was fashion director of several magazines, and always my editor-in-chief wanted me to give rules.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's something that I don't like to do, because the rules, it's not rules for everybody.
Right.
Because it's very personal. The way you dress, it's very personal. And who am I, you know, to say don't wear mini skirts with high heels? I mean, I wouldn't do that, because certainly not my style. But who I am, you know, to forbid someone to wear mini skirts with high heels?
Exactly. And I think that's where, you know, when you really understand who you are, then for me, if, well, someone wrote to me the other day and they said, you know, Amy, I have this, it was actually leopard, and it was a mini skirt. And she said, you would say that I can't wear this, but I like to wear it with a big sweater and a flat, and I find it to be effortless. So how do you feel about that? And I was like, that feels great to me. I think it's not items of clothing that are necessarily even good or bad, or even fits with one specific style or another. It's the whole like interpretation of it. So if you wear that mini skirt with a high heel, again, it's not bad style, but that's not my style.
Yes, exactly.
It becomes something a little less effortless. But wearing it with
If
like
you
a
feel
flat
good.
and a big sweater, yeah. But so I think it's really understanding what will different clothing items make you feel when you put them on, and is that feeling consistent with how you feel about yourself? And so when the feeling that your clothing is giving you, if that is at odds with how you want to feel about yourself, then that to me is when you feel very uncomfortable in your clothing.
Yes.
That's a terrible feeling. But I think this permission and the rules, like someone asked, they said, do you color your hair, and should more mature creative pragmatists embrace their gray hair to enhance their style? And I think, to me, well, I'm going to say something first and then I want to hear about your hair, but I think what is really important is that for us, for anyone to embrace something as good, it doesn't mean that the alternative is bad.
No.
And so I love your gray hair.
And I love your hair as well, but I wouldn't.
Right. And I pay a fuckload every 6 weeks to get this going, because here is my gray, like, and so we can love this and we can love this.
Yes.
And it all works.
I have dyed my hair like during a couple of years, and then I started to let my gray hairs grow because of several reasons, but mostly it's because dyeing was making my hair very dry and it was not beautiful. And
so when you went gray for the first time, because if you were dyeing it, you were purposely like not being gray. When you went gray, did you, like, was that scary though? Like, did you feel any different at first?
I went gray quite early.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my family. My grandmother's on the father's side, she was white when she was 30.
Yeah.
So so at the very beginning, I started pulling my white hair. It was so.
Which they tell you is the worst to do, right?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes. Because you know, gray hair, it's gray. It's not such thing as gray hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my case, brown hair, dark brown hair, and white hair.
Yeah.
And that's what gives the impression of gray.
Uh-huh.
So at the beginning, I started to pull the white hair, and at some points it was too many white hairs. So I went to, I had at that time, I had very, very good hairdresser in Paris. And so I went them like every 3 or 4 months. And then growing older, I would have need to go there like every 6 weeks. But I was not in Paris so often any longer. I have come to New York. I have been living in New York during a couple of years between 2011, 2015. And so I didn't have my hairdresser in New York. I tried to find some others, but I was not really happy with the color, and my hair became very dry and coarse, and I couldn't style it, and so I decided to let it go.
And when you did it, did you feel that did you compensate anywhere? Like, did it make you feel older and you felt like you needed to dress in a way that was, did you change your style at all as a result?
Absolutely not. And I must say also, I have not really problems with growing old. Because that's the way it is. You know, the alternative is to die young. So I prefer to grow old. So
no, we
and
don't.
Well, you know.
Well, and I think it is. It's funny at my age, and for everyone. I was born in 1967, so this makes me. I'm 53, 54. You know, I just changed in October. I just turned something. You guys at home can do the math. But I feel thankful for my age right now. I do, and I think that, and I'm grateful for the experiences that I've had. And it's funny, I think that for any of you younger watching this, like, good things come. It doesn't all just like drop down and all of that. Like, good things come, and I'm so grateful to have had so many experiences now, because I think that having perspective and the ability to see things through many different lenses right now, especially, like, it's a really
really, it's not
I'm
all
grateful
negatives.
For it. No,
it has. Of course, you don't like any longer. I mean, I don't look any longer like I'm 30. But you know, as long as you try to, I mean, it's a kind of respect for yourself to try to stay in a good shape.
Yeah. I mean,
and I don't feel any. Well, yes, it's a thing that I think is quite sad for me, is that, of course, you night clubbing at some point, you look quite ridiculous. So you have that's.
But I
enjoyed that so much that it maybe. But when I think it's maybe the only thing, you know, that I miss, because otherwise, I can wear what I want to wear. I can.
Because people ask about dressing your age, and it's funny because at this age more than ever, I am not concerned with other people's viewpoints. And I think that, you know, when you're standing in your closet, if your number one concern is your viewpoint, you're judging on whether or not what you're wearing is telling the right story, you feel good in it. That's, for me, I'm like judge, jury, and trial. I don't need more opinions in the closet. And I think about when I was younger, how many times I did consider, well, what will this person in my office think, or my friends in school, you know, there were a couple different people in your head at the time. So I think dressing your age becomes sometimes more, I want to think about it very positively. It becomes dressing.
You're not dressing for someone else. You're dressing for you. Yes.
Yeah, and so I don't, there's like Vogue always loves a good article on 20-year-old dressing, 30-year-old
Yes.
dressing. I hate that.
Yes.
And so I don't, I think we can say unequivocally there's no such thing as dressing for
No.
your age.
I totally agree.
Yeah, like I think we just put that
I
out
don't
there.
understand what it means.
No.
So,
There's dressing for
Yes.
appropriateness in
Yes.
an office, on an airplane, appropriate for being in a city, if you're going to a wedding in a church, whatever.
to be at the seaside, vacation, so. But
Exactly, but dressing
Yeah.
your age,
No.
no. Okay,
Forget
so
it.
that
Yes.
is the official word.
So we don't dress
We
our
do not
age.
dress our
Yes.
age because
Yes.
I don't even know what that is anymore. So, all right. Someone said, I love black, but it does not love me. It's very aging. Okay, so now let's turn this into what you feel is the black is very harsh on you. And I get that. I have felt like that for me sometimes. Navy is always my answer first. Like I wear a lot of navy as well.
Funnily, growing older, I like navy much more than now that, let's say, for 20 years I've never worn navy, and now indeed I also wear a lot of navy.
It's a good, and I
Yes.
love it with black. So you're wearing it with
Yes,
black.
yes.
I love navy and black together. Sometimes I'll even put, like you've got the Dickie on here in navy.
Yes.
But I think sometimes too, just having a bright color near you, like it feels good. So I think that if you're worried about black aging you and you love the black and it makes you feel a little
I mean,
harsh.
it's true that black is quite hard.
It can be very harsh on the skin.
Yes,
But sometimes even like an earring or something that is just kind of near the face kind of, lifts that up a bit, right? Please tell everyone who makes your glasses and what the story is.
So the story behind my glasses is that also like my white hair, at quite an early age I needed prescription glasses, and I was always looking for aviators, and I never found really the glasses, the frame. They were always sunglasses,
Right.
because it was very difficult to find frames for prescriptions in
because
that
sunglasses
aviators
yes.
type. So I started buying sunglasses and putting my prescription glasses in them.
Yeah, so guys, I didn't even really realize that until Veronique was telling me that. So you really can go buy, mine are prescription from Moscot and they were sold as prescription, but you can go buy any vintage sunglass and do that.
Yes.
So we love your glasses.
Thank you very much.
I do think Moscot needs to do a little collaboration, so I'm gonna put that out there to them. But love the glasses. But if it were me, guys, go out and get a pair of vintage ones and then take them to an optometrist and put the right lens in.
Yes,
so that
exactly.
you can see.
Exactly. And in my case, because as a stylist, I'm also working outside when we have photo shooting outside, and it is sunny, and I cannot wear sunglasses because I don't see enough. So I needed to have these prescription lenses that become darker when it's sunny.
So those become darker.
Yes, they become darker. So when I'm outside and it's sunny, people think I have sunglasses, but actually that's always the same glasses.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, guys. So it's easy. Go get vintage and put the right lens in. There are a lot of questions about how we feel about the fickleness of fashion trends, like the speed of which they come and they go, and what's your take on that?
Trends, I would say more and more. You are not. It's not like 50 years ago. they were trends every season, and
Right.
you have to, as no, you didn't have to, but you could follow trends,
Right.
and because it was like this season the skirt length is directly under the knees,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not true any longer. And I think more and more the labels, at least the labels I like and wear a
Yeah.
lot, like Tibi, also like, for instance, that funny Japanese label Toga. It's more like, you know, building a wardrobe.
Yeah.
It's not really, you don't follow trends, you have a style, and you buy things every season, maybe what, a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need much,
Yeah.
that you can wear with your older
Yes.
things, and you know, it's your wardrobe, and it's more. And if you keep to your style, I mean, once you have found your style, you keep to that, then it also, you don't need to spend so much money, because when you buy at TB a new blazer,
Mm-hmm.
you know that you can wear it with the pants that you have
Yeah.
bought the season before. So
Exactly.
and also because it's not really such thing as spring, summer, and fall, winter, because let's face it, it's cold in January and February, and then really hot.
And that's the
it's
sale time.
You
Exactly.
know, so you tend to wear your things all the year long. So,
Mhm.
and you can, well, you can have the same pants in June and in January, but you will style them differently, with a big sweater and with a big coat maybe,
Yeah.
or with a t-shirt in the summer. It's not really so. I think really, I wouldn't think about trends. I would think about what fits me, what suits me, and what do I need. Maybe.
Yeah, because if you think about the reason for a trend, like in the purest sense, not in terms of like, you know, magazines or money or anything like that, but in the purest sense, the reason for a trend is because people crave to feel something new, something that excites them, something that gives them goosebumps, right? You want to feel part of what's happening in the world. You want to feel present. And so I think that if you don't think about the word trend, but really think about what will make me feel present, what will lift up everything that I already own. And so I think that, you know, when you get to this space where you really understand your style and you build that core wardrobe that you really live in, then it becomes very natural that you realize, like, okay, Veronique, you're wearing the faux patent leather pants, right, and a sweater. But maybe as you start to build your wardrobe, then you think, okay, well, I love these pants, but I have 4 or 5 different warm things to wear with them. But maybe I need something that is like linen, and maybe it has like a bigger shoulder, and that's going to make me feel really different in these same pants. So that now all of a sudden those pants that maybe you felt like, oh, I wear them a lot, I'm maybe getting tired of them, all of a sudden when you wear them with like a new fabrication or a new shape, it gives them brand new life again.
Yes.
So when you're looking for bringing new things into your closet, you're looking for things that will give the things that you already have life again.
Yes.
So it's not about going on a checklist and saying, okay, what are the top trends? It's more like, well, I've got a lot of cashmere in my closet. I have a lot of woolly, comfortable things. So maybe I need something lighter and something brighter. And then that way when you go shopping, you have a purpose. I always tell people too, like, if you have a favorite pant, like these pants you have on, wear those pants when you go shopping. Because when
you see something and you can try it with them, then it's and if it looks good, it's a win situation.
Exactly. Exactly. And so that's how you add to your closet. But then a lot of people wrote to us and they asked, when do you retire something in your closet? When do you let it go?
I must say, in my case, mostly it's when it's worn out. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Well, when it's worn out or never worn.
No, when it's used.
Yeah, no,
because,
yeah.
You
So
know,
that for
yeah,
sure.
oh, yeah,
But
never.
then when you've never worn it, when it's one of those things where you're like, why in the hell?
Oh my God, the last thing I bought and never worn, it must be such a long time ago that I don't remember.
That's okay. Well, that's impressive. I'm very envious of that. I'm not gonna lie. I bought a pair. You know what? Oh, I bought a pair of sneakers the other day, and they weren't cheap. And I wish I hadn't bought them. I'm not gonna say the brand, but I wish. Like, I don't know why I'm stupid. And then I haven't made this mistake in a long time, but anytime I've bought fast fashion, that just, like, I haven't bought fast fashion in at least 5 years, but that always goes out the door first. And I think that's one of the things I get a lot of questions about is, you know, fast fashion is well priced, and how, how can you, what are other lower price options that you can offer up and to replace fast fashion. And I think, what I want to say to that is, I do, my much younger self, and again, this is an age thing, right? But when I was growing up, we obviously didn't have Zara, and we didn't have H&M. No. But I shopped vintage. In college, I bought like a lot of men's old suits.
I had a couple of old jackets,
Mm-hmm.
men's jackets in tweed, but mostly I must say, when I was a student back in the days in France, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but I used to spare on my lunches and my dinner sometimes, and to spare my money. And
Put it all
even as
into
a
one.
student, I bought quite expensive clothing. And I remember in the city when I was studying, it was in the north of France, Lille, in my favorite store, who had really great designer pieces, great designer labels, they would allow me to pay in several...
right, they do the installments, and
yes. And because they were... Well, of course, I couldn't really afford that kind of, and I didn't have so much, because when it's expensive, of course, you don't have 10 skirts, but you have less. But I had less, and but I felt good in what I have.
But and I think at the end of the day, to be honest, it's not even... If you really take a look, if you really photograph your outfits every day, I think you might find that you probably have maybe at the most like 20 items that you repeat all the time, right? Like my Stella pant, I repeat all the time, this jacket all the time. And so if you think about the really the low number of items that you need, at the end of the day, like if you do cut out the excess shopping, the impulse shopping at the fast fashion, etc., I do think that is one way you can really just refocus those dollars onto good quality pieces, and they last, guys. Like when you buy a jacket, I remember my big first splurge was when I was 25 years old. I splurged on a Calvin Klein blazer, and it was I mean, this was in 1995, and it was like $900. Like, it was, I bought a designer, like not CK, a designer Calvin Klein blazer, and that was, you know, my month's salary. And I'm not recommending that people go and spend month's salary here, guys. I'm really not. This is a personal thing. But I wore that jacket to death. It was absolutely shredded by the time I got rid of it. By the time I got rid of it, like, we're talking like 5 years ago. It lasted 20 years.
My biggest splurge, it was 1988. I mean, back in the day when I was a student. And it was at Yoji Yamamoto. And I bought a jacket and a skirt. And it was like more like 2 months salary. And
but you had it forever.
I still have them. I still have them.
Yeah.
There are pictures, street style pictures, shot in New York during Fashion Week. It must have been 2 or 3 years ago. I have this white Yoji Yamamoto asymmetrical jacket on.
And that's the one. See, guys, so listen, I think it's a matter of knowing where to splurge. You know where I don't splurge? I don't splurge like on big evening items. Like, to me, those are one and done. Like, I think those rental places are probably pretty smart doing that, because like the big splurge to me is the stuff that you wear every day. Those, you know, what you consider your basics, like, that's not where you cheap out. And then you can buy things like, there's this guy Adam who sells vintage t-shirts in Austin, Texas. Like, I love buying a good t-shirt from him, you know? Like, you can have on the little $30 vintage t-shirt that you bought and mix it in and make all of these bigger splurges go really far.
Yes.
Really, really far, with just the change of an earring, a belt, you know, throwing a sweater over your shoulder or whatever. What does the industry need more of? Someone asked, like, in the fashion industry, you know, because we both said that we used to read magazines, and that's not really around as much. But where do people go to discover fashion?
I suppose they
It's
go
hard.
on Instagram, but I mean, you have everything. You have.
And Instagram's hard too sometimes, because you don't know so much of it's sponsored.
It's not really an edit. It's more like, well, it's quantity versus quality. I don't know.
So I think this is where, you know, I do think it's the one thing that I've heard from a lot of people that's been helpful with what we've been doing here is kind of creating a community that is pretty like-minded, and that it's people who clearly, you know, you desire creativity and modernity and then functionality, right? And so it's a community that really intersects on those levels, which means within that you can have a huge range.
Yes.
Because you know you really creative and pragmatic, right? Creative pragmatist. And I think that really more of those communities popping up for other people who maybe are like, oh, I don't like being a creative pragmatist, but where's my community? People write to me and they're like, where is my community? And I don't have an answer for that. I think that's, you know, I hope that is the next iteration of what happens in fashion, because it does seem like people need a forum to be able to write and talk and ask and discuss, and because we outfit share here. People send me outfits like all the time, all day long. I get DMs of, you know, do I like this? Do I like that? And I always tell people I never give judgment on whether or not I like it. It's whether or not you do, and I can help you finesse it. But
well, we can give, of course, our opinion, but at least what's important is that maybe when we give an advice that it open your eyes and that people are able then to find alone the solution or the way they want to follow fashion-wise.
Yeah.
Because as I said before, I don't want to judge and say that's good and that's bad, and no such things that good and bad in fashion.
There really isn't.
Except things that are bad qualities. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So things that are bad quality are not good. And then there are bad choices in that if you make a choice that doesn't make you feel good about what you are wearing, right? And so what we try and do here is help people understand how the choices that they make can impact how they feel, you know?
Oh, I'm thinking of something. One of the biggest fashion mistakes I did when I was younger is that when I wanted something, mostly shoes, and it was not in my size. I bought I bought the wrong size and think, oh, it cannot be so bad when it's let's say 4.5 instead 5. Yes, it's bad. It's bad. That's the worst thing to do. One should always buy things at one size, not smaller.
I agree because I lived in Hong Kong for 4 years and with the size 40 foot. And that Sarah Rutson, who was the director of Lane Crawford there, thank God she had a 40 foot because she would order some in that size. But when I left Asia, I swore that I would never buy the wrong size again. I had so much in the wrong size.
Because that's really the moments when one can see you don't feel comfortable in what you are wearing.
And you can see it, and you can feel it, and you can. So the things that I look for when I'm getting dressed, and when someone else is, when we're doing a fitting, or when I'm helping someone style, is, you know, guys, you'll know whether or not you like something by your body. You know, like when someone puts something on where all of a sudden they like it, like it's amazing how everything just relaxes.
Yes.
You know, and when I think that the worst thing that you can do is when you come out of the dressing room, and if you're really fidgeting in something because you really like, it just feels off, and the salesperson convinces you that you love it, don't do it. Don't do it, because what it is the salesperson is telling you that you look great visually. I don't think that they're lying. I think that they are really looking at you and they're saying you look amazing in that. What the salesperson doesn't know is that simply looking amazing in something is not your goal. And so they don't know what your real goal is. They don't know that your goal is to be able to put something on that you know that you are going to feel so effortless and relaxed and confident in this meeting or picking up your kids from school or wherever. And I was thinking the other day, I was doing this event and there was this dress that I tried on there and I was going to style it with something Tibi. And it's from an amazing designer. And the dress was, I mean, skin tight. Like it sucks you in like a vacuum. And I remember when I came out, the store owner, she was like, whoa, you look so sexy. I've never seen you in anything like that. Oh my God, you have a great body. Why aren't you showing it? And like they all came out, they're like, oh my God, you have to get that dress. You just have to, you have to. And I did think I looked good in it, but that was not the criteria. That wasn't what I was looking for. So it is really understanding what is it that you are trying to get out of the piece of clothing that you're buying. And that wasn't what I was trying to get out of that dress. And so I knew not to buy it. And if I was
so anyone, you didn't buy it?
No. Because no, it's no. And but just even my 10-year ago self would have bought it. You know, it just was, but that wasn't, there's looking good physically, and that anyone could objectively walk by and be like, okay, that person looks good. And then there's looking good because you feel it.
Feeling good
is
the thing, yes.
Like, and you know it, like when people, because we always joke, there's this Monet, our finance person here who does all of our planning, she's like become like so Tibified, and she came in today in this black and white dress of ours, and I mean, she just is killing it. And it's not just because it looks great on her figure, anything like that. Like, she's just got it like so together, like her style, like she's just owning it, and you can tell it by the way that she's wearing it. Like, it is just, you know, it's that is what fashion can do, and that's what we love. So guys, I'm going to look down at a couple more questions that we have, but while I'm doing that, feel free to ask any questions right now. And Matt, has there been anything coming up that you want to?
Well, now that you answered the glasses question.
Now that we answered the ultimate glasses question here. But, okay, so let me see. What I'm going to see what other ones here we want to really dive into that we have time to talk about. So much around age, and I think that we have really, really, really covered that. And you guys wrote to me about unlearning different rules out there, and I think that that we have covered that as well. Actually, can you stand up and I stand up? Because people have been asking, they want to know fully what you're wearing and what I'm wearing. So let's see here. Can you get in there? So, okay.
So I will, yes, but through the table,
You got
you
the
cannot see my beautiful shoes.
you got the fuzzy blue guys
Yes.
on, and then the black faux pants,
Yes.
and then the
I
little
have,
dicky
I
here.
have just the
Your own
sweater,
cashmere?
my own cashmere, and because it's cold and it's so cozy, I have some Tibi.
And here's another thing that I think a lot of times I'll get questions about. You have just thrown on your own cashmere that you had,
Yes.
another branded cashmere,
Yes.
and then you threw on your Tibi here. They don't have to match.
No.
Obviously, it's not the same
No.
brand, but it's when you just throw this on with this, you know, again, the closet like should just pile on top of each other. And so when you work with like all those great neutrals,
And you know, funnily, in this case, the color matches perfectly, but it doesn't have to be, you know, it
No.
could have been that the blue of the sweater, it's
Yeah.
a bit different.
and even because it's blue,
It-
it's
it
different from
does-
the blue in
It
my
doesn't
suit,
matter.
but it doesn't
yes,
matter.
it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, when
Yes.
when I had this color wheel that I did, and it really like all of these neutrals, just pile them all on.
Yes.
And that is the secret to having like this really great closet. And then when you want, you can put on this big bright blue happy Cookie Monster
Yes.
of a shoe that you're wearing. And then I'm wearing the navy blue Liam because
Yes.
I just love the Liam. And then I'm wearing the Stella pants, and I'm wearing a size 4. And I think
I'm
you and I
wearing
look exactly the same.
I'm wearing this size 4 as well.
And I think
yes.
we're
yes.
like, yeah,
Yes.
so we're pretty similar here.
Yes.
And then I'm wearing the cashmere tube top.
Looks good on you.
Love this.
Yes.
So, and what's great about this tube top, I'm going to come a little bit closer here, is it's double faced. Hannah did a great job with this. So it's double faced and it's plied with Lycra. So like your sweater it's got a nice fine gauge to it, but this one's plied with Lycra, and it's basically like you're wearing 2 sweaters. So when I'm pulling it out, there's a whole lining inside. So see, it's like, it's double faced. It's like wearing 2 tube tops at once. And the Lycra like sucks it in. And then for me, I'm just wearing a bra with it because I'm wearing my jacket all day. And then I can sit here and it just looks like it has straps.
Yes.
It's just your bra. So this is where, guys, like, you don't have to really overthink, like, where am I going to go get
No.
that perfect strapless bra?
Look not for perfection, because it's no such thing as
When
perfection.
we say, there's no such thing as
Yes,
perfection.
and
I love
perfection.
that.
Perfection can also sometimes be boring, because you
It's
know
so boring.
when you overthink, it's always.
I agree. I think that the watch is Frank Muller. Wait, you pronounce it, please.
No, Frank Muller.
Yeah, she did a better job. Just that. But perfect. I just want to mess perfect up.
Yes.
I really, and again, I think that when you're seeking your adjectives, when you know that you are an easygoing person, and then you wonder why it is that if you went into a store and you bought that perfect outfit on the mannequin and it had the perfect matching shoe, and then you wonder why you don't feel perfect, it's because that doesn't fit your attitude.
Yes.
You've said that you're easygoing. What that means is you need to look for items with pockets, and you need to look for items that just let you relax. You need to buy colors that you can wear brown, navy, black, red, orange, anything with.
Yes.
Because life is short and it doesn't need to be about color matching, that's for sure. Let's see. Long necklace, please. Oh, me. My necklace? This is Marla Aaron, Aaron, and she does these little, they're great. She does all these, they're very functional. If you go on
You
to
can
her,
open it.
you can open it
Yes.
up, and then they can also be used, like, one thing that I love is she has this thing where you can attach them to, like, if you have a strand of pearls,
Yes.
which can feel very, like,
Ladylike.
she has like this and a hook to it, so you
Yes.
can actually change the, and that's a great thing. Like when Veronique was saying she just bought the vintage glasses and she changed them up for her eyewear. You can do that with, if you've got that strand of pearls, which I do. My husband bought them for me at some point. It was the Tiffany's pearls, and I look at it, and every day I'm like, I'm never going to wear you. What am I saving you for? But if I did that,
it's a nice way to break that too classic
Right.
impression of the pearls, and it makes looks modern and
it looks modern. And
Yes.
so when you guys asked about trends, it's about, if you are a creative pragmatist, that means that you really do love things that have this classic bent to it, but constantly finding ways to give them friction is, like, trend's a bad word for it, but that's what you're doing. That is trend in the best view possible, is giving it a modern moment.
Yes, I think that's really the most important, that you feel really living in your time.
In the moment.
Yes.
And I think that's why too, like, it's why I love wearing the socks with sandals and everything as well, because I think that if I put on sometimes a heeled sandal, it can feel like a little fussy. If I'm, with the skirt and a
Yes.
high heeled sandal, it can feel fussy.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, with a sock on, it just makes it feel much more modern. And then you have the utility of being able to wear it through all kinds of weather.
Yes.
Because you're not just limited to summer.
Yes, you can. For instance, as my golden Tibi sandals.
Exactly.
Of course, when you wear them with bar legs, it looks much more
Ladylike.
Yes, or maybe also for the evening.
Right.
But you can wear them in daytime
With a gray sock
gray
or-
socks, or yes, and it looks modern and it looks urban,
Yeah.
and it looks really like yes, you can run on the street with them.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so I think someone asked a question.
What is Veronique's necklace?
Oh, this one. No, I
This
already.
one, it's by Hermes.
Yes. When Margiela was there,
Yes,
right?
when Margiela was creative director of Hermes, it did. I suppose it was for keys, but I wear it as a, it's all leather. I wear it as a necklace.
And what I love too that she's done is it's just underneath here.
Yes.
It's that, you know, it's a when you get this closet filled with the items that you love, obviously none of this was designed to go together, right?
No,
like you did
no.
not see this
No.
on a runway. No one
No.
showed the Hermes.
It's old.
It's all the pieces
Yes.
that you've collected over
Yes.
time that
Yes.
you loved. And when those things that you love are all in front of you, it's amazing how if you chose them because you loved them, there's such a strong chance that they're going to all work together. But if you're standing in your closet and you're like, well, that's the sweater that I bought because my husband loved, and this one's because the salesperson, and this one's because, you know, my mom told me that I absolutely had to have it. Well, how do you effortlessly layer with everyone's opinions? You can't layer other people's opinions on you. So keep so focused when you buy on the things that you love. Buy slowly over time.
And wear the things you buy.
Wear them.
Don't buy them and then you wear them 3 times and you keep them in your closet. I mean, I wear very much the things that I buy.
Yeah.
And when they are worn out, when I can't find them, sometimes I love them so much that I buy them again.
Yeah.
For instance, my wristband,
Yeah.
it's the second one.
Yeah.
Because
you love it.
Yes, because I love it and it's part of me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's exactly, and it's part of you, and you've got intimate reasons why you love it, and it's kind of between you and the wristband. And I think that, you know, so sometimes you guys will write me about rights or wrongs of different things you're buying. It really is just think about why you're buying it, and ask yourself questions. And I know that I gave away our age today, but I know that so many of you guys who write me, you're also in your 60s and 70s. So it's not just our age and younger. We didn't cap out here. So, and a lot of you people who follow me who are in your 60s and 70s, you're also telling me that you're just now discovering your fashion. And so listen, I mean, just discover it at whatever point you can. But I'm glad that you have uncovered it now, and that's great. But when you get to our ripe age, if you buy the things you love, it will all come together. And then don't overthink it. But when you do overthink it, feel free to DM me or any of our stylists, and we'll help you kind of unwind it. But thank you.
Yeah.
I love
Thank
doing
you very
this
much.
together.
Yes.
This was great. All right, guys. So send us any questions that you have. And Veronique, thank you. Thank you so much.
Amy.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.